Hey, I'm Danny, aka Topless. I'm 630 miles into hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, and I'm really sick of the desert. All right, 6:30, I'm up, I'm at this water cache. I just trudged through Gut Hook and looked at every friggin' site you can look at. And it looks like the next water is 20 miles from here, and I'm really friggin' done with the desert. I am so sick of going 20 miles to get water almost every day. It's ridiculous. I can't wait to get to the Sierras. Oh. So it's 6:30. I'm going to fill up with 4 liters. Damn, I might take more because it's daytime and the sun's going to kill me. Yeah, I'm going to take probably 5 liters. I'm going to go as far as I can until the sun comes up and hide in the shade and not move and not waste water. And then maybe start moving again at 4 or 5. So friggin' frustrating. After what I just did last night, another friggin' 20-mile carry. God, I really, honestly, I don't think this desert hike is worth it, guys. If you're watching, like, the only reason I'm doing this desert is to go from Mexico to Canada. I would never come back and do this again, ever. This desert it's not worth it. All right, I made it a mile and a half before the sun crested the hill, and now I'm hiking in the sun. It's 7:30. I don't know how long it's going to take before it becomes unbearable. Just to be clear, I was super, super lucky the last 2 days of having cloudy skies in the desert. I hiked 27 miles and 28 miles 2 days in a row. Um, I don't see the clouds that I saw yesterday or the day before. So what's probably going to happen today is that I'm going to hike until it's too hot to hike. And then I'm going to sit in some shade for probably 4 or 5 hours waiting to hike again. And that can be kind of frustrating. It's a lot of racing, but not too fast because you'll get heat stroke. And then sitting around waiting and then racing. And yeah, the desert has not been the most fun, honestly. The sun is literally trying to kill you. Like, literally trying to kill you. All right, it's 9 o'clock. I found some shade, which is rare. And it's 15 miles to the next water source, which is going to be a total of 20 for the day. And I've been thinking about it, and since I calmed down a little bit about my frustration about the desert, I thought maybe I would explain my frustration a little bit. So, first of all, hiking is easy. You just walk. That's it. Through hiking is also easy. You get up, you put your tent away, you walk. At the end of the day, you put your tent up. Easy. Now, everything else starts to add complication and things start to get hard. So, for example, having the right gear is not easy. Having shoes that don't wreck your feet is not easy. Having a bunch of blisters and pain in your feet and not being able to get your next set of shoes till maybe the next town is not easy. I'm lucky that my gear came together pretty well, pretty early on. I've never had a problem with my shoes. Pretty much never. I over tightened them once and got blisters that day, and then undid the laces. I got a little bit of pain in one of my arches, but I shortened my steps and the pain went away before it became a problem. I'm lucky. So hiking for me is easy. Get up, put your tent away, start walking. The desert just crushes you, though. The sun sucks out all your energy. It sucks up all your water. You don't realize that you're getting heat exhaustion and frustrated. And there's nowhere to stop. You just got to keep walking until you find the next piece of shade, which could be literally a bush that you crawl under. And you might not be able to find shade for 2 miles or 5 miles. So desert hiking is really exhausting. And to add more to that, there's so many water sources out here that are just dried up and just random. So you'll see, oh, okay, great, 8 miles ahead, there's a stream. Perfect. You'll click on it in the little app, look at the comments, and find out that 2 days ago somebody said it's dry. There's nothing here. Awesome. So you look for the next stream, and the next stream says dry. Oh, but the comment right under that says, actually, if you follow the dried up stream bed for a quarter of a mile, I found water. And now you're in this conundrum of, how much water do I bring? Is this place even going to have water? And that's your everyday. Your everyday is literally just trying to survive and hike far enough to get water again. And if there was water every 10 miles, this whole thing would be a cakewalk. But there's not. And honestly, 20 miles doesn't bother me. I can hike 25, 28 miles if I really put my all into it. If I get up early, if I've, really smart about the weather, and if I'm really cruising, I can do 30 miles. So 20 is not a big deal to me. It's just every friggin' day, it really starts to weigh down on you, where it's like, what am I doing here? And then take all that and put on top of it the PCT, the Pacific Crest Trail. You are racing. It's not a hike. And it sucks to say this out loud. It is practically a race. You are trying to get through Washington before it snows. Because once it snows, they're going to close all the trails. So the only way to get to Canada is to get moving. And if you do the math, it's 2,660 miles from Mexico to Canada via the Pacific Crest Trail. If you did 10 miles a day, it will take you 260 days, which is too much. It's going to snow before then. So you have to go faster. And faster is more like 18 to 20 miles a day. So it's this weird thing where, honestly, I thought there would be a lot of putting up your tent next to a beautiful creek or something like that and just enjoying yourself for a day or two. And then putting your tent away, walking 10, 20 miles, doing it again. But it's not. It's rush, rush, rush through the desert, and then throw up a tent. Maybe it's in a nice spot. Probably won't get time to enjoy it that much. And then get moving again before the sun gets out, because the sun will kill you. There's some beautiful stuff out here in the desert. But when you're basically racing against the snow, sitting around for 4 or 5 hours in the middle of a day in the shade is kind of nice, but it's usually a crappy location. And you're just aware of the fact that you're sitting here, not moving forward, waiting for the sun again. And it's really not that impressive. Like, if you were next to a water source or a creek, maybe you could go swimming or something and have fun. But ultimately, you get trapped under a tree, hopefully with a couple other hikers that you can laugh and joke with. But sometimes you're literally just trapped in the shade in the middle of the desert, waiting out the sun. So all those things kind of pile up, and they really hit me this morning. After pushing so hard for 2 days in a row, just to basically be hit with, nope, there's no water ahead of you. You're going to have to do it again. It was like, what? Why? Like, what is the point? And honestly, the point is to go from Mexico to Canada. That's it. And it kind of sucks. I'm going through this desert because it's part of going through Mexico to Canada. I'm not allowed to be here long enough to enjoy it, which really sucks. Really sucks. I know people who skipped the hot springs, which was epic, because they felt like they weren't going fast enough. They were doing 15 miles a day, and they were never going to get to Canada that way. So they skipped the hot spring, which so far has been one of the coolest places I've ever been. So on the mental and emotional side of things, hiking through the desert when you're basically under the gun in a clock, in a race, is pretty frustrating, and it adds up fast. And, combine that with things like trying to hike with your friends, and it can just explode. So keep all that in mind if you decide to come out here on the Pacific Crest Trail. Like, there's a lot more going on than just enjoying yourself in a cool location and then meandering to the next location. It's get moving, get up, go before the sun kills you. And you've got to make 20 miles today at the same time. So, also, I have to say, like, some of the best hiking has been night hiking. Temperature wise, it's been a dream. However, you don't get to see anything. It's completely pitch black out there. All the views and things like that, you don't get to enjoy them when you're night hiking. So it's like, what am I doing? Like, I'm throwing away the gorgeous view because the only thing I can do is get to the next water source by night hiking. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are kind of at play and being balanced at all times. And yeah, it's pretty frustrating out here in the desert. And here's an example right now. I sat down at 9 o'clock. It's now 9:15. It is hot out there, but it's cooler than it's going to be an hour from now. So I'm bummed that I sat here for so long because I meant to sit down for 5 minutes, not 15. That's the kind of stuff you're going to end up dealing with. All right, guys, you are not going to believe this. I was sitting on the side of the trail, just chilling in the shade, and I saw a coyote. And then 20 minutes go by, and I see like a bear cub. And then guess what? Also, I saw a tiger.
I was here. I saw the coyote and the bear cub too. I showed up first, actually.
All right, it's 7:30. I've got 7 miles to the water. I took a heck of a siesta today. I ran into Tiger, who was hiking southbound from Kennedy Meadows. There's a little bit of story behind that, and I got a video with her, and I'll post that in my next video. But right now, I've got a liter of water. I've got 7 miles to go, and it's 7 o'clock. So at roughly 2 miles an hour, that's 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Yeah, seems like it'll be about 10:30 when I pull in. Someone left a water cache and a hiker box, a little bit of trail magic. There's some grapes in there. Amazing. Thank you so much. What is that, a watermelon? There's a watermelon. All right, so I found the next water source. It was at a campground, and it was like a spring in the back, but there was a bunch of trail magic in the front when I first got there. So I just showed you a video of that. So there was just water jugs. There was a cooler with grapes and snacks. There was another little milk crate with a bunch of snacks trapped under it where animals couldn't get to it. And they had disinfectant wipes. Oh man, I just wiped off all the dirt off my legs. It was really nice. So basically I looked around and I realized the ground was so hard that I couldn't imagine getting a tent spike in. So I filled up with water, I grabbed some snacks, and then I got right back on the trail and went for another, 15, 20 minutes until I found a tent site on the trail, and then just threw up a tent, which was much, much easier. I mean, the ground is pretty sandy in this area, so the tent spikes go right in. Compared to the campground, I can't even imagine hitting them in with a hammer. So yeah, that worked out really well. I got refreshed, I got lots of water, I didn't have to spend a lot of time filtering it, got some snacks, got back on the road, got a tent site. So pretty good day. I think it was like a 20, maybe 21 mile day. And yeah, and I've got a plan for tomorrow, unlike the last couple days. I've got an alarm on my phone. I already know how much water I need to get to the next water source. I already have it All I have to do is get up when my alarm goes off and get moving. So I'm looking forward to that. I've also realized that I've been going more miles than I expected. I was planning on 20 miles a day, and I brought enough food to go 20 miles a day to a town called Onyx, which is like 650 or 660 or something like that. But I've been going faster than that. I've been going like 25 and 27, 28. So I'm kind of like ahead. So I have extra food. And so I'm just going to go an extra 50 miles to Kennedy Meadows, which is mile 700, which is kind of what everyone is aiming for. It's not technically the end of the desert, but it's kind of seen as the beginning of the Sierras. So yeah, I've got enough food. And if I do a 25 tomorrow and a 25 the day after, I'll be at Kennedy Meadows. I'm not sure if I'm going to push that hard, but I can get there in 2 days, definitely in 3. And I've got enough food for that. So I'm just going to skip Onyx and go straight to Kennedy Meadows. So I've got a plan for tomorrow and an alarm. So looking forward to tomorrow.